Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. I'm here today to do my mid-January wrap-up where I am going to wrap up the 14 books I read from January 1st to the 15th. Um, yes. Um, this was Monday's video, but it turned out Monday's video didn't have any audio, so I'm hopeful this one does. And go from there. I've been having some issues with my audio, so I'm trying to figure it out. I think I did, but um, yeah, so sorry about that. But before I get started with wrapping up, I do want to say that #nerd by Cambria Hebert is free starting today, the 19th, until the 23rd. So if you haven't read this book, go get it when it's free. It's one of my favorite series of all time, and I am also wearing um, a shirt from it. So this follows Rimmel and Romeo, and it's their story. It's a new adult college romance that has drama, so much drama, but it's really good. This whole series is really good, but it starts with nerd. So check it out if you want to, but I really love it. Um, and now on to the books. So the first one I read was my art copy of Wild by Micalea Smeltzer. I do have a vlog for this, and I'll film a book talk. This is coming out next Thursday, the 26th. But I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. And this follows Mia and Hollis. Um, Mia is a daughter of Haynes from her Willow Creek series. I would recommend reading that book series first before you read this, but you don't have to. And it follows another up and coming band, and it's their story again. 5 out of 5 stars. Then I read A Week to Be Wicked by Tessa, and I gave this one 3 out of 5 stars. This one I listened to for um, on Libby, um, my library app, um, and it was for Romanceopoly of the Cobbles. The Cobbles, yes, which is to read a historical romance with a Reich. And I gave this one 3 stars. This follows Minerva and Colin. This is book 2 in the Spindle Cove series. This is set in Scotland, and it's fake dating, only one bed, and there's another one, but I don't remember. Road trip, yeah. Um, and it's I don't really like historical romances, but Tessa Dare does it in a way that doesn't make me feel like I'm reading historical romances. So I did enjoy that. I should also mention that Wild was for my Uno game, which was for Wild and Windy TBR. And then I read Someone to Love by Kelly Elliott. This is book number 4 in the Seaside Chronicles. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars, and it follows Harley and Braxton. Harley is a journalist at her dad's newspaper in this Maine. This is set in Maine in the seaside, and it follows Harley, who, as I said, is a journalist to her dad's paper, and Braxton, who runs a charter business boat thing where he takes people fishing. Um, and I really enjoyed this. This one cannot be read as a standalone. You have to read the whole series, which is really good. I love Kelly Elliott, so I've already read the whole series, so but it's really good. Yeah. And for my Uno game, that was for new release. Then I read Hate by Tate James, and this was the first book by Tate James that I've read. This is book 1 in the Madison Kate. This is a reverse harem, enemies to lovers, hate to love book, and I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. And for my Uno game, I put this as an audiobook new to me author, but I am actually going to change that to the Kindle Unlimited TBR redo, um, because I'm going to use something else for audio new to me author. So this one is perfect for a Kindle Unlimited TBR redo because I have checked this out 2 or 3 times, other times, and have not read it. So it works for that. And I gave this one 4 out of 5 stars. I don't want to tell you too much about this because I think it's better not knowing much. So, but I enjoyed it. And this is also in my week 1 blog, which I'll leave down below if you're interested. And yeah. Then I reread Runaway Road, and I realized I actually have the physical copy of this, but it's fine. By Devney Perry, and this is book number 1 in the Runaway series. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars, and this follows London and Brooks. This is follows London after she gets divorced from her husband. In Boston, she decides to drive to California to give the Cadillac she's going to drive to California to one of her friends. Uh, when she was a teen, her and 5 other teens were runaways and lived in a junkyard, so she's giving the Cadillac to Carson, who is one of the teens. And on the way, she gets a flat tire in West Virginia and meets Brooke, who is the mechanic that fixes the car. And they fall in love, and it's their story. I give this 4 out of 5 stars. Then I read Wish by Cambria Hebert. This is book number 3 in the Westbrook Elite series. This is a male forbidden brother's best friend, like everything that I love. And then I love Cambria's male romances. And this has West, who is a swimmer, and Max, who is a tattoo artist. He's like everything. And I would recommend reading the other 2 books in the series. You don't necessarily have to, you just find out more about them. Uh, like the first 2 couples in here, you do see that, so you learn a little bit about their family or their story. Um, but I really enjoy Wet and Wingspan, which is book 1 and 2 in the series. And you do see Max and West in those 2 other stories too. This is like a romantic suspense because there is drama, so much drama, but it's really good, and I highly recommend this. It is on Kindle Limited, so check it out. And then I read Stay Tonight by Kaylee Ryan. This is the 3rd book in the Kincaid Brothers series. This follows Alyssa and Sterling. This is a friends to lovers romance, best friends to lovers. And I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. This is on Kindle Unlimited. And for my Uno game, it was KU part of a series. So, yeah. And as I said, 4 out of 5 stars. I forgot to mention that Wish by Cambria Herbert was for my Uno game for Kindle new release. And that is the last book, like not the last book I'm going to show you because I do have one last one to show you on my Kindle, but we'll do that last. The first was washed up by Cambria, by Kandi Steiner. And this is the one in the Bayside Hero series. This follows Amanda and Greg. This is a reverse age gap. And I really enjoyed it. And this was for Romanceopoly for emergency service, which was to read a book where the main character worked as an emergency service, so either like a doctor, nurse, firefighter, so on. And Greg is a nurse, doctor type thing. And Amanda um, is getting a divorce from her husband, who was a alcoholic and abused her. And she ends up in a car accident and ends up at the hospital Greg works at. And it's their story. Oh, also Son's best friend. Um, really, really good. I gave this 4.5 out of 5 stars. Sorry. And then I reread Pestilence by Lauren Thoracics. This is book one in the Four Horsemen series. And I use this for Romanceopoly The Vault, which I think is to read a paranormal fantasy, one of those where the main character is on the cover. I know he's not on the cover of this one, but on the audio and Kindle book he is, so I counted it. And this follows Pestilence, who brings the plague and fever to Earth, and then follows Sarah, who is tired of seeing her village die, so she goes out and tries to kill Pestilence. He cannot die, so she failed, and he ends up kidnapping her. It's their story. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars and enjoyed it more the second time around. Then I read War by Lauren Thoracics. This follows War and Miriam. And War brings war to Earth, and Miriam is there. And when War first sees Miriam, he's like, "You're my wife." And it's their story. I gave this 3.5 out of 5, and this was for Romanceopoly for Action Avenue, which is to read a fantasy that's on your TBR or one that you're interested in. Then I read Famine by Lauren Thoracics, which is the third book in the Four Horsemen series. I gave this one 3 out of 5 stars. This was my least favorite in this series, but I also read Pestilence, War, and then this one back to back to back to back. So this one is more repetitive of the same thing. This follows Famine, who brings hunger to the world, and he meets Anna, and it's their story. Again, my least favorite. Then I read Death, which is the fourth and final book in the series, and this follows Lazarus and Death. I gave this one 3.5 out of 5 stars. I did like this one, and yeah, again, it does follow the same pattern, but Lazarus thought couldn't die either, and then because she didn't die when Death tried to kill her, he's been searching for her, and yeah, I really enjoyed this one. And then the last physical book I have is The Love of My Next Life by Brit Benson. This is book one in the Next Life duet. And I give this one 5 out of 5 stars. This is a dark, dark, dark romance, so just be aware it is dark. This follows Lennon and Macomb. And for Uno, this was for KU New to Me author because it's my first book by Benson. And I really enjoyed this. I don't want to tell you too much about this, um, but I'll tell you the trigger warning so you could um, see. So it's toxic and unhealthy relationships, underage drugs and alcohol use, addiction, physical violence, bullying, drug abuse, and overdose. So, as I said, it is dark, dark, but it mainly follows Lennon, who moves to a new town when she is either kindergarten or first grade. I don't know. In elementary school, she moves because her dad is in the army or something like that, military. I don't remember. It might be the army. And she moves and she meets Claire, and Claire is the sister of Macon, and then it goes flash forward to her senior year, and it's their story. Really enjoyed this one. Then I read This Life and All the Rest by Brit Benson, which is the second book in the Next Life duet because this book does end in a cliffhanger. And this one was available on Kindle Unlimited, and I was like, I need it. So I read it, and I gave this one 4.5 out of 5 stars. I don't want to tell you anything really about this other than it's just book 2 because it ends in a cliffhanger and it's the end of their story. And yeah, but really good. Really enjoyed this duet. And those are all of the books I read. Um, so yeah, I think I talked a little quicker about these books than the first time, and I'm sorry about that, but I am nervous that the mic didn't work, so I wanted to go a little faster, but hopefully it did, and I will post this. If it works, if not, I will probably not post a mid wrap up because I don't want to talk about these books again um, in a video. So, but anyways, yeah, those are all the 14 books I read so far in January. If you've read any of these, what ones did you like? And what books have you read? And I'll see everyone later. Bye.